Welcome to our YouTube channel, The Knowledge of Self Academy. In this video, we're excited to bring you a simplified and corrected overview of the profound insights from both Lecture 1 and Lecture 2 of Season 1. We've taken the extensive complex document from advanced academic and distilled it into a concise exploration of how indoctrination profoundly affects our emotions, actions, and perception of reality. Throughout this journey, we'll delve into the crucial role of language in shaping our worldview and how it interconnects with indoctrination and materialism. We'll also emphasize the significance of introspection as a tool to unravel learned behaviors and enhance self-awareness. Our discussions extend to biases and their impact on adaptability and discrimination. We'll explore the intricate relationship between emotions and decision-making, as well as delve into long-lasting emotional states like depression and anxiety. You'll discover how repetition aids in skill mastery and how language goes beyond mere words, encompassing worldviews and behaviors that mold our reality. We'll also question how indoctrination influences our perception of reality, often binding individuals who share similar indoctrination experiences. A deeper exploration into the realm of emotions awaits you, uncovering their profound influence on our experiences and thoughts. We'll talk about how orchestrated indoctrination can obscure our pursuit of external goals and hide our true selves, emphasizing the power of introspection and determination to break free from emotional conditioning. Moreover, we'll examine how societal ideals of success can skew our thinking, making it challenging to find emotional balance. We'll reflect on how media-driven indoctrination can obscure hidden agendas and challenge the notion that happiness is solely tied to specific milestones. Societal beliefs greatly influence our perception of happiness, and we'll stress the importance of introspection and understanding indoctrination in finding true happiness. During this exploration, we'll confront the misconceptions in our cognitive development and how they shape our emotions and actions. We'll see how orchestrated indoctrination influences negative emotions and shapes our concepts, including romantic love. Media, entertainment, and peer opinions play a substantial role in our emotional well-being. We'll also highlight the lack of introspection in education systems, leading to the adoption of incorrect life ideas. Recurring behavior patterns create our perceived norms and influence our emotional responses. Knowledge from various sources significantly shapes our actions and leaves a lasting impact on our behavior. The document urges us to question why indoctrination happens, encouraging us to seek better emotional well-being. It emphasizes the role emotions play in guiding our thoughts, actions, and self-expression, highlighting that the words we use to describe our feelings are often automatic. As we approach the conclusion of this video, we'll witness a shift in the pursuit of power. While history favored physical force, today, mental control has become a subtler yet equally potent form of dominance. We'll explore how those in power manipulate information, construct narratives, and subtly steer public discussions to control those who unknowingly submit to this power. This manipulation is compared to a secret dance where puppeteers skillfully pull strings while the puppets remain unaware of their role. It's a complex system of control interwoven into every aspect of our lives, shaping our thoughts, desires, and behaviors to align with the wishes of those in power. The video challenges us to confront the voluntary nature of our submission to this control and the subtle way consent is manufactured. It encourages us to explore the complex machinery hidden from our conscious minds, fostering introspection and discovery. We passionately support the pursuit of knowledge, truth, and self-awareness as personal journeys toward enlightenment. In conclusion, this in-depth discussion invites you to examine the origins of your beliefs and desires and to break free from the chains of mental control, ultimately discovering your true self within the intricate tapestry of life. If you found this video insightful, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and click on the notification bell to stay updated with our thought-provoking content. Thank you for joining us on this journey of self-discovery and enlightenment at the Knowledge of Self Academy.
Summary. In this detailed document, we set off on a journey to reveal how indoctrination strongly influences our emotions and actions. We highlight the important role of language in shaping how we see the world and its connection to indoctrination and materialism. Along this story, we explore the value of introspection in understanding learned behaviors and becoming more self-aware. The document also looks at biases, how they affect our adaptability, and their contribution to discrimination. We delve into emotions, how they impact our decisions, and long-lasting feelings like depression and anxiety. We discuss how repeating things helps us get better and how language is not just about words, it includes adopting worldviews and behaviors that shape our view of the world. As we continue, the document encourages us to think about how indoctrination affects our view of reality, often binding people who've had similar indoctrination experiences. We go deeper into emotions and how they affect our experiences and thoughts. We talk about how planned indoctrination can cloud our pursuit of goals and hide our true selves. This document praises introspection and determination as ways to break free from emotional conditioning.
Introduction to the Knowledge of Self-Awareness. Lesson 1. Simplified Version. Season 3. Section G12. This lesson contains Lessons 1 and 2 of Season 1 with some corrections. October 1st of 2023. Respected individuals of keen intellect. In this discussion, I will delve into deep insights that form the foundation of our conscious experiences. I offer this material as a guiding light for your understanding, acknowledging its uniqueness in how we perceive reality. Please allow me to request that you read these pages multiple times, for it is through diligent study that we can hope to grasp its essence. Have you ever, during a moment of contemplation, thought about the path of your life? Often, our constant concerns divert our attention from the truth that our experiences are, indeed, shaped by our emotional responses to different situations. It is essential for us to understand that many of our goals, desires, and pleasures are learned responses, adapted to the specific way we think. It's worth recognizing that our education compels us to adhere to predefined standards of success. Only after reaching these milestones do we consider exploring beyond the conventional definitions of success. However, be assured that by freeing ourselves from these ingrained ideas, we open the door to a deeper understanding of our true nature. Now, I ask you to think about your current perception of reality. If I were to inquire, what would make you truly content in every fleeting moment of your life? Furthermore, how can we describe such contentment? Is it the ability to maintain a lasting sense of peace and happiness, even when facing life's ups and downs? Some may doubt the existence of such a state. In that case, it is my duty to guide you through the process of uncovering the influential forces that shape our life's journey. Many of you may passionately argue that good health, fulfilling relationships, a pleasant living environment, and financial stability are prerequisites for finding peace and happiness in life. I do not deny that these fundamental elements contribute to a better quality of life. Additionally, I acknowledge that many individuals have been fortunate enough to attain some or all of these blessings. Yet, when we truly delve into our inner selves, we come to realize that genuine fulfillment goes beyond the usual definitions of achievement. The majority of us either accept our overall circumstances or work earnestly to attain the elements we think will make us whole or perhaps better. Our pursuit of success is shaped by societal beliefs and its common definitions. So, we follow the well-known paths in search of success, such as starting businesses, seeking education, engaging in physical effort, focusing on healthy eating, and finding gainful jobs, among others. Unfortunately, some may be tempted by illegal or unethical methods. Let it be clear that I will never support any endorsement of illegal or unethical behavior. However, I do support those who work diligently to improve their lives. Despite our collective desire to achieve predetermined goals, life's harsh changes often create significant obstacles to realizing our objectives. Now, we face the important question: to what extent does the harsh reality of life affect our ability to maintain a positive attitude while we passionately pursue our desired goals? Additionally, one might ask, what exactly makes up the harsh reality of life? Today's discussion begins with the latter question. For example, the necessity of working beyond regular hours to meet one's financial responsibilities is an aspect of life's harsh reality. Similarly, the requirement to dedicate long hours to excel academically can be seen as an inherent part of life's harsh reality. Moreover, dealing with disagreeable people in our professional lives might be considered an example of life's harsh reality. The challenges of weather, whether extreme cold or scorching heat, can also be included in the list of life's harsh realities. Thus, we continually encounter life's harsh reality. A question of great importance now arises: is it possible to lessen life's harsh reality? Can we make our experiences less severe in their impact on us? Another form of this question could be: is our emotional response to life's experiences overly fragile? We observe individuals who navigate trials and tribulations similar to ours yet manage to keep their composure. It is possible that their inherent biological and psychological makeup differs from our own, or perhaps the environment in which they operate is more conducive than the one most of us find ourselves in. As members of the human realm, we have a natural tendency to interpret the actions of others based on our personal reality and subjective emotions. Consequently, we often struggle with the simple truth that we are inherently unique from each other. What may seem logical or rational to one person is rooted in their unique experiences and understanding of reality. Indeed, there are individuals who share our perspectives and interpretations of various situations. It is even possible that most of the people we encounter share a similar understanding of what is considered proper, respectful, moral, as well as immoral or unethical behavior. Most within our social circle adhere to a set of accepted behaviors, which they consider inappropriate in some contexts but appropriate in others. This principle of situational appropriateness applies across a variety of scenarios. So why do the majority of our fellow citizens subscribe to the same interpretations of human behavior and life circumstances as we do? Is it not because these interpretations make sense, are correct, and are acceptable to those individuals, much as they are to us? The intricate tapestry of human life is woven with threads of how we see things, how we feel, and how we act, all intertwined in a complex dance. It's like a symphony of being aware and not being aware, and understanding our emotions in this dance helps us unravel the mystery of our existence. In this world of existence, we often find ourselves caught in the traps of reaction, where our actions are guided by learned responses rather than our true nature. We go through life, reacting to the various situations we encounter, often without realizing that our behavior is not just who we are but also what we've learned and how we've been conditioned to respond. Our view of reality, that ever-changing idea of what's real, is shaped by the words we use to describe our experiences. We learn to categorize situations using words like oppressive, harsh, depressing, or favorable. These words become our guide for understanding life. So, the reality we experience is constructed from the words and meanings we've learned. Think about the loss of a purse or wallet, an event that most people would describe as sad, unfortunate, or depressing. These words aren't just labels, they are like magic words that can change how we feel to match the description. Sadness, for example, shows up in our body as slumped shoulders, a loss of energy, and a downward gaze. It's like our emotions are puppets, and the words we use to talk about our experiences are the puppeteers, pulling the strings of how we see things. In a world where happiness is often connected to having things, our minds become fertile ground for manipulation. The idea that happiness is all about getting stuff or showing off our emotions takes away our dignity and makes us easy targets for materialism. When we lose possessions, it can push us into doing things that are against our values, showing how the system we're in can lead us down the wrong path. Society sets norms, the invisible rules about what we should want, and makes us believe that having branded items, a fancy lifestyle, a good-looking partner, and exciting trips are the ultimate goals. This leads to more people doing things that are illegal or unethical, just to get momentary satisfaction. Places like clubs and casinos become tempting, and expensive things become quick fixes for feeling empty inside. The complexity of this problem makes us want to dig into where it comes from. Are these desires just something we're born with, or do they come from society teaching us what we should want? That's the question we need to answer. There are people who stick to strong moral principles and resist the pull of materialism. They find happiness in simpler living. But we should go deeper and understand why they make these choices and really look at why we desire the things we do. We can only do this through self-reflection and start to unravel the complex web that ties our wants to society's influence. People who follow their moral principles are in a unique place in society, where their ethical integrity shines brightly. But it's important to remember that even those choices are influenced by what they've learned. Our behavior is like a container for our emotions. It's shaped by the choices we make, and each choice shows how we feel inside. Our actions are a way to express how we feel, and they come from what we've learned. When we look inside ourselves and reflect on our automatic reactions, we can see how our lives are run by these habits. We can look into our minds and see how our bodies respond to emotions. We can see ourselves reacting to life, feeling our muscles tighten, and getting stressed, all based on how important we think something is. Through self-reflection, we can understand how our inner world affects our outer world. We can learn how we've been programmed and start to change ourselves for the better. In this exploration, self-reflection becomes our guide. It shows us the way to improve ourselves and become more self-aware. It's a journey into the heart of what it means to be human, where we see how our emotions, how we see things, and how we act all come together to reveal the mysteries of who we are. Our biases, those deep-rooted beliefs in our minds, have a big influence on what we do. These biases often stay hidden in our minds and can lead to unfair attitudes or actions toward people who don't fit society's norms. Think about a situation in a store where a man with a dark complexion enters, and an employee makes a lot of noise to make him leave faster. These events show how biases can affect our actions and make us treat people differently based on their race. As humans, we tend to interpret others' actions based on our own experiences and feelings. This can make it hard to see that we're all different from each other. What seems logical or right to one person might be based on their unique experiences. But there are people who see things the same way we do. Most people around us have similar ideas about what's right and wrong, what's respectful or disrespectful. Most people follow a set of rules for behavior, and they think some things are okay in some situations but not in others. This idea applies to many different situations. So, why do most people have the same ideas about how people should act or what situations are like? It's because these ideas make sense, they're right, and they're accepted by most people, just like they are by us. Furthermore, sticking to a set way of thinking and seeing life as unchanging is like restricting our ability to adapt. It limits our freedom and makes it hard to deal with the ever-changing nature of life. Now, let's think about how our daily routines can affect our physical and emotional well-being. We often experience emotions that last for a while, like the heavy cloud of sadness or the constant unease of anxiety. Life's ups and downs can lead to these long-lasting negative emotions. You've probably met people who always seem angry, worried, or sad. When these emotions take hold, they change how we feel inside and how we interact with the world, and we call that depression or anxiety. Whether an emotion is positive or negative, it has a big impact on the choices we make. It's like we become vessels for different emotions, and each one leaves its mark on us. The emotions we connect with most often shape our overall vibe. These ideas might be new to some people and might need some more explanation. We all know that when we practice something over and over, we get really good at it. Think about learning to write or read, for example. At first, it's hard, but with practice, it becomes second nature. When we're born, we start learning right away, and we keep learning as we grow up. We learn how to talk and act by copying those around us. As we learn to use language, we also pick up on different ways of speaking, little quirks, and different ways of seeing the world. These patterns of behavior and ways of talking become natural for us. During this learning process, we also take on the way the people around us see the world. So, when we're around others who are learning the same way, we tend to understand things in similar ways. It's rare to meet someone who says, "Why do your emotions shape your view of reality?" That's not something we hear every day. Teaching this way of thinking takes time and patience, and as you read this, you're taking a journey inside yourself. You might even start to doubt if your view of reality is your own or if it's been shaped by other people's ideas. To explain this better, let's look at some examples. Think about how your emotions affect how you see the world. When you're really irritated, your usual abilities to think and feel get caught up in that irritation. In a way, irritation takes over and disrupts your balance. Now, if that irritation sticks around and becomes a regular part of your life, it changes what you consider normal. You start to rely on the chemical reactions in your body that come with irritation. So, you might even look for situations that make you irritated, based on your own interpretation. This idea looks at how often you get caught up in the physical and emotional tension that comes with irritation. It's like living in a world where irritation is always present. But remember, these experiences don't really show who you truly are. For many people, understanding themselves means looking at things like being part of the human race, their gender, their role in their family, their job, what kind of personality they have, their temperament, and their behavior patterns. Some experts in psychology, like the people who study how genes affect behavior, say that our behavior can be influenced by our genes. But they also say that our environment, the world we live in, plays a big role in shaping our genes and behavior. So, while genes can make us more likely to act a certain way, it's the environment we're in that affects how we actually behave. In other words, our view of the world, the way we see and understand things, is shaped by our minds, which, in turn, is shaped by our surroundings. So, we act based on how we've learned to see the world. When someone's view of reality gets influenced by the world around them, it can seem like the world is confirming what they believe. This makes it less likely for them to question if what they think is really true. As I mentioned before, it's important to read this material multiple times. Repetition helps you understand things better and lets you grasp ideas that might not be immediately obvious. The main goal of this course is to help you discover the hidden forces within you. These forces might look like your true self, but they're actually powerful influences on your thoughts, feelings, and actions. We call these internal forces, and they'll be your companions on this journey of self-discovery. In reality, these forces are just your emotions, cleverly shaped to serve the interests of the dominant culture, which keeps you under its control without you even knowing it. By practicing introspection, which is the art of examining your inner self, you can uncover automatic responses that work without you even realizing it. You might understand the emotions that well up inside you, but you might be unsure if you can change these emotional states. For example, when you walk down a particular street and see a young beggar, it might trigger a lot of questions in your mind, like why they aren't looking for a job. This is what introspection is all about. It means becoming aware of your thoughts and emotions in different situations and how they show up inside you, regardless of what's happening around you. As long as you're conscious, you can practice introspection. This practice helps you identify automatic reactions that you don't consciously control but mistakenly believe you do. Think about someone who's shy. Shyness is often seen as a personality flaw, a difficulty in handling emotions in specific situations. It suggests that there are internal forces stopping you from seeing situations clearly. By practicing introspection, a shy person can recognize these internal forces within themselves. Interestingly, during a crisis, a shy person might not realize what's causing their shyness. However, they can easily bring back the same emotions just by thinking about the situations where they felt shy. Sadly, many people avoid thinking about these things. But through introspection, by revisiting these memories, they can dispel these forces, like shyness, over time. Shyness, along with other psychological patterns, has some clear attributes. But the forces behind our actions are often more subtle. While we can identify these forces, we start to wonder if we're responsible for them. This brings us to a crucial question: how can we tell if these internal forces, which automatically make us feel certain emotions in response to events or thoughts, aren't actually our own creation? The truth is, these forces are a part of us, they've just been influenced by external sources. We're talking about the people who are responsible for our upbringing. They may or may not directly participate in shaping our worldview, but this process starts when we're very young, babies, even. By the time we reach adulthood, what we think is reality is actually a reflection of our indoctrinated selves. The dominant culture's view of the world becomes deeply ingrained in us, and we don't even realize how much control we've given up. Every person we meet and every influence we encounter keeps reinforcing this way of thinking. So, we're essentially trapped in a world that exists only in our minds, like mice navigating a maze of our own making. This indoctrination process, which benefits a few but harms our individual lives, has its roots in history. The legacy of oppression has quietly left its mark on our collective consciousness. So, we barely notice when we're exposed to psychopathic behavior, it just seems normal. As you can see, understanding our situation, breaking free from emotional conditioning, and rediscovering our true selves take a lot of determination and strength. By doing this, we take back our control from these external influences. Our mental abilities, including our imagination, intuition, determination, memory, perception, and thinking, are all limited by this well-organized system of indoctrination. When our thoughts and emotions are confined to preset points, it's really hard to stay emotionally balanced. Plus, we don't realize that our automatic reactions set us up for failure. It's important to recognize that failure is often seen as falling short of achieving what we want. For many, accomplishments like getting a degree, landing a prestigious job, finding love, or accumulating possessions are seen as successes. I understand this view because I've been influenced by these beliefs too. In our quest for self-awareness, we need to explore how our understanding of reality is constructed. We'll use tools like introspection and meditation, and in future lessons, we'll delve into the idea of our higher self. Through this introspective journey, we might glimpse a more genuine form of success that aligns with our true selves. To truly understand these ideas, we must acknowledge that what we believe about the world is shaped by the education we've received and the society we've grown up in. This explains why we often admire people who have fame, wealth, or physical attractiveness, values reinforced not only by media but also by our surroundings, among other influences in our upbringing. When we dig into what shapes our view of life, we discover a powerful force at play, the media. It's everywhere, and it skillfully convinces us that money and material possessions will bring us happiness. So, we're constantly chasing after wealth, degrees, partners, cars, jobs, and various other things, thinking they're the key to our contentment. But let's pause for a moment and think. Pinning our happiness on these external acquisitions doesn't quite match reality. We often admire role models who seem happy because of their wealth, looks, and fame, while ignoring the role the media plays in perpetuating this illusion. We need to question why indoctrination, primarily through the media, has such a strong hold on us and why we're so captivated by it. Our fixation on these external factors is deeply ingrained in our upbringing. Recognizing the hidden agendas behind indoctrination, especially through the media, helps us understand its true influence. In this meticulously constructed world presented by the media, our society, and other influential sources, we've put our whole existence into pursuing things we wrongly believe will make us happy. Indoctrination, through the media and other channels, tricks us into thinking this illusory world is the core of our existence. Goals like wealth, fame, attractiveness, and the search for an ideal life partner are what many of us see as paths to happiness. But some people have different goals, like finding a fulfilling job, achieving financial stability, raising children, or living a simple life. Even when we pursue our goals with some balance, we need to consider the ups and downs of our emotional journey. Shouldn't we try to enjoy every moment of our lives and appreciate them fully? If you agree with this idea, then we can find joy in every moment, whether we're actively working towards our goals or simply savoring the present. We don't have to wait for specific milestones like graduation, a job, or winning something to be happy. Indoctrination pushes us to think these moments are all important, making us ignore the bigger picture of our lives. Have you ever heard someone say, "Thank God it's Friday"? It shows how we often think happiness comes from specific events rather than embracing the whole present. We've been raised to believe that joy can only come from external sources. So, if we lose those external things, we often feel sad. Our upbringing has made it really hard to see an alternative perspective on life. We should wonder whether we chose to see life this way or whether we were conditioned into this perception. When we strongly desire something unattainable, it can lead to deep distress because the person who has what we want has power over us. So, we end up trapped by both our desires and our need to fulfill basic needs. Our idea of happiness has been taught to us and influenced by the collective thinking around us. That's why our view of what makes us happy often matches what others have learned through the same conditioning. As long as our immediate surroundings conform to the standard way of life, we feel like we're in the right place. But if our view of reality doesn't match that of our peers, we feel disconnected from our social group. Sometimes, people might try to comfort us by saying our normal circumstances will improve. For example, imagine you work as a cashier, and people ask how you're doing. You say, "Okay," and they reassure you that things will get better. Implicitly, they may suggest that being a cashier is a lower status job, subtly hinting that your life isn't as good as those in esteemed professions like medicine or law. Eventually, we internalize this view, even if our chosen careers don't fit the usual definition of success. This happens because we've been conditioned to think this way. Financial limitations can be tough, and in such situations, a more lucrative career can seem attractive. But buying into the idea that our job determines our happiness leads to constant discontent. We become perpetually dissatisfied with our work just because it doesn't match others' ideas of success. We've been taught to think that our real happiness depends on having things like a stable job, getting married, and being physically attractive. Embracing new ideas can be challenging because our emotions are already shaped to make us uneasy when we encounter concepts that don't match what we learned early in life. These ideas persist because people who went through similar conditioning keep repeating them. It's important to remember that everything happens in the present moment. If we keep believing that our happiness only comes from distant achievements, we end up missing out on being content in the here and now, leaving an emptiness inside us. The ideas I've talked about are worth thinking about. But our minds often struggle to stay focused on the present. We let automatic thought patterns control us once we get used to seeing life in a certain way. Our acceptance of our current life circumstances can block us from understanding who we really are. Our thoughts are always swirling through our minds, and they can shape our emotional reactions. The way these thoughts and emotions interact is a fascinating process worth paying attention to. We often give names like sadness, frustration, or shame to our emotional experiences. Once we label them, they have the power to make us feel helpless and limit our ability to make decisions on our own. It's as if an external force, guided by societal norms, has invaded our inner thoughts and is controlling our feelings. These norms come from our upbringing and have been deeply woven into our being. This situation raises important questions. Can we use different words to describe these so-called negative emotions, giving us a new perspective and possibly new solutions? Are these emotions inherently real, or are they just results of our external conditioning? How can we break free from these recurring negative emotions that grip us? Answering these questions means carefully examining the false ideas that have shaped our thinking from a young age. Think about the strong impact of sadness on our minds and bodies. Similar effects can be linked to other negative emotions in their own ways. As I mentioned earlier, our entire knowledge, even the ideas we believe we came up with ourselves, have been heavily influenced by the conditioning we've received. For example, think about the concept of romantic love, often tied to ideas like, "I can't exist without you," or "life has no meaning without you." This understanding of love comes from a consensus formed and reinforced by various influences like the media, entertainment, friends, family, and others. But before we fully accept this way of thinking, shouldn't we consider how it might affect our lives? Unfortunately, most of our educational systems don't include the important practice of introspection, of looking inside ourselves. As a result, we unintentionally adopt many mistaken ideas about life, some of which we hold dear. Have you ever come across well-intentioned advice from people who, influenced by their own life experiences, offer guidance based on shared knowledge? This happens because we've all been shaped by similar influences that have shaped how we think. It's interesting how people from different places can still respond in similar ways due to this shared conditioning. As we go through life, we often find ourselves stuck in repeated patterns of behavior that we consider normal. This normality greatly affects how we see the world and how we react to life's ups and downs. Let me explain this with a made-up scenario. Imagine you're a child watching your dad's unrestrained joy when his favorite baseball team wins a big game. This moment gets etched in your mind, leading you to believe that personal happiness is closely tied to the success of your favorite sports team. Without realizing it, you start thinking that real happiness depends entirely on your team winning. This simple example, with its seemingly innocent beginnings, can have a big impact on many aspects of our lives. It shapes our preferences, creates divisions between people, and makes us think that being happy means celebrating loudly when you win. We mistakenly believe that only victory can bring happiness, and we idolize the players who make it happen. The effects of this way of thinking go beyond sports and affect many parts of our lives. If we look closely at the complex workings of our minds, we can see that most of our behavior is influenced by the knowledge we acquire. Is it possible that our minds just work randomly, or is there a more organized process at play? Where do we get the moral and ethical guidelines that help us navigate life's challenges? These guidelines come from the books we read, the things we watch and listen to, the music that resonates with us, the movies that capture our imaginations, and the teachings of authority figures like religious leaders, teachers, parents, neighbors, and friends. Together, these sources create a network of people who have a significant impact on how we behave. But what we often don't realize is that our way of life, this intricate web of emotions and actions, was quietly imposed on us when we were most impressionable. Our emotions, which silently shape how we respond to things, continue to guide our actions based on the ideas given to us from the beginning. In our quest for individuality, we sometimes miss the fact that our flexibility was deliberately planned, a clever tactic to make it easier to influence us. It's important to understand that our parents, religious leaders, teachers, neighbors, and friends don't have bad intentions. They've also gone through a similar journey and are caught in the same way of thinking. So, Our shared experiences and the desire for understanding bring together those who share our perspective. The agreement in our beliefs comes from being exposed to the same teachings. Still, as we ponder deeply, we can't help but wonder about the reasons behind this teaching, which keeps us trapped in a state where negative emotions constantly affect our mental and physical well-being. In this initial explanation, I aim to get you thinking about how our emotions strongly shape the way we see the world and our ongoing journey of self-discovery. Emotions, more than just vague feelings, have a significant impact on both our physical and intellectual selves. Our thoughts, those subtle whispers of thinking, have a profound effect on our emotions, which, in turn, shape how we feel mentally and physically. Ultimately, they influence our actions and how we express ourselves. The words we use to describe our emotions aren't random, they show how adaptable our minds are. The words we naturally use to describe our feelings aren't something we consciously choose, they're automatic responses ingrained in our minds. Throughout history, people have constantly sought power and control. They've used various strategies and methods to gain some level of control over others. While in the past, this often involved physical force, history has shown a shift from physical to a more subtle yet equally potent form of control: mental manipulation. In this web of mental manipulation, individuals, often working as tools of larger power structures, cleverly exploit the natural tendencies and thinking biases present in the human mind. They don't use outright force but instead capitalize on how people naturally think and behave. This form of control is subtle and relies on the idea that those subjected to it willingly give up their control, all while being blissfully unaware of the invisible chains affecting their thoughts and perceptions. It's like a hidden dance of manipulation, where the puppeteer's strings are pulled so skillfully that the puppets believe they are acting independently. The foundation upon which this system thrives relies on presenting mental subjugation as the normal way of life. Those in control carefully shape the prevailing attitudes and beliefs to make people perceive this subjugation as an unquestioned part of reality. They use information manipulation, crafting stories, and subtly guiding public discussions as their main tools in this complex endeavor. This system of control seeps into every aspect of our lives, influencing our thoughts, desires, and actions to conform to its design. We're trapped within this complex framework, often without even questioning it. We paradoxically find ourselves willingly giving up our freedom in exchange for a sense of security and acceptance. Our agreement is manufactured, and our submission is expertly extracted. To those who don't look closely, it may seem like a natural alignment with cultural norms, shared values, and unquestioned conformity to established traditions. However, it's in these patterns of conformity that we find ourselves ensnared, each of us playing a part in the grand machinery of mental subjugation. As we navigate this complex topic, let it inspire you to delve deeper into its intricacies. The pursuit of knowledge, the unwavering search for truth, and the continuous examination of our own existence call out to those who dare to question, those who long to break free from the invisible chains that have held their minds captive. May this introductory explanation spark your curiosity, propelling you on your own journey toward more knowledge and self-awareness.